Hey everyone, welcome back to Mason Woodshop. It's been a little while, but we're just starting the winter here in London, Ontario, and it's time for me to get back in the shop. Today I'm going to be showing you my favorite hand sanding accessories. So we've got a few different items that I'm going to go through today. Not talking about anything related to power sanding, even though I love my random orbit sander and my 12-inch disc sander, but hand sanding has its place, whether it's in that detail work, whether it's getting a nice light sanding on a fine finish, or whether it's about avoiding blowing through veneers, which I think that many of us have done before. So I'm going to get to each of these three, and I have links to the products in the description below. And definitely give it a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment below on your favorite sanding accessories or sandpaper. Definitely would like some advice in that space. But without further ado, let's get to these three accessories. So first up, we have the sanding contour grips, and the ones that I have are from a company called Tadpole. I purchased these from Lee Valley. I don't even think Lee Valley said what brand they were. I think they just said that they were rubber contour grips, so it doesn't matter too much what kind you buy, as long as you buy ones that are of reasonable quality. So in this case, these are from Tadpole. They are rubber, which is awesome, so a little better than the foam ones that I had before that definitely would have made the list of my worst tool purchases if I hadn't already gotten rid of them. And so yeah, we have convex in this case, and then we also have a concave set that kind of goes the other way. Then we have an angled set as well. So these are really handy for kind of getting in little crevices, getting little grooves, and working with trim. So I highly recommend these. When you do buy them, make sure that you get rubber and not foam. And yeah, these can be really handy. Well, next up, we have the 3M Sandblaster sanding tool. It's this really handy tool where you can essentially take a sheet of sandpaper, so I think like the 8.5 by 11 sheet, you basically cut it into thirds, and really easy to do. You don't have to be super precise with it. Then what you can do is essentially put this sheet on the bottom, loop it over, clasp this little component down on that side, and then hold it down on the other side. And then you have a sanding pad, and it has this pretty dense rubber on the bottom, so it does give you a little bit of give, but not enough where you would kind of be leaving grooves in your work. These retail for around $10 US on Amazon, I think just under $20 Canadian, depending on the sale. And the nice thing is that you can, again, kind of sand that flat surface. You can rotate the handle so that if you have different motions that you want to do, you can also even get a little bit of detail sanding in that edge if you need. This was gifted to me by a sandpaper engineer from 3M when I bought a used planer from him, so thank you to that guy. So I've had this for about 6 years. It's held up really well. I think that they've changed the color and some of the dimensions of it since I bought this one, but it's definitely handy, and I would recommend checking it out, again, making use of just those sheets of sandpaper that you have. And finally, we have these Norton ProSand sanding sponges or sanding blocks, and I love these. I've used a handful of different sanding sponges, some that were just discount bulk orders from Amazon that were not very high quality, but I'm finding that these Nortons are fantastic. So probably similar quality to some of the higher end 3M, although 3M doesn't always classify them in grits, whereas here we see 220. We have a 120 here. And these are just this really nice quality. They last really well. If they start to get a little dirty, you can actually just take a shop vac to it and clean it up a little bit, or a sanding eraser, and that generally extends the life a little bit. I use these for DIY. I use these for woodworking. I do buy these generally from Lee Valley, but they can be purchased at generally Home Depot, Lowe's, a lot of different places. They are around $3 individually in Canada, or a little over $2 when buying in a pack of 6, and a little cheaper in the US. I'll put links to this in the description below. I generally buy a 6-pack from Lee Valley for each grit, so I always have these on hand. But just know that you can buy these pretty much anywhere, and these are just really nice. They have a nice, clean 90-degree edge when you're doing that type of work, and there's just enough give in the sponge itself to kind of give you that really nice edge. So again, these Norton ProSand sanding sponges are really quite nice, and yeah, really happy with those. All right, so that does it for covering the 3 hand sanding accessories that I use the most. What are your accessories that you like the most? Leave a comment below. What kind of sandpaper do you use? I generally skew towards using 3M or Norton when I can find them at a good price. I'm also not opposed to picking up Gator if I'm at a local hardware store and need a sheet in a pinch. But definitely leave a comment below. It's definitely one of those spaces where I'd like to learn a lot more from the community and from those watching this video. If you haven't already, give it a thumbs up if you don't mind. Subscribe for future videos in the near future. And until then, I'll see you in another video soon.